this event and what it's all about.
Hey, good morning, Dave. How are you?
Pretty good, man.
Good. Thanks for having me on. I guess we're all in the same boat here after a late night with March Madness, getting a little sleep. Some great games, but I appreciate you having us on, being able to talk about this event. So pretty much what it is, it's been an 8th grade all-star event. It's been around for a long time, and we caught wind of it this year that it was no longer going to be in existence. A few of us in this area, namely Tom Messer, who's over at Cape Trinity, and myself, decided that couldn't happen. The event was too good for the kids. It ends up extending from Cape May to Atlantic to Cumberland to Gloucester and Camden counties for all the 8th grade all-star basketball players. So about a month ago, we started getting the ball rolling, became a nonprofit organization, started taking some sponsorships and donations from a lot of community members, and we've had a lot of support, which has been great. And we send out emails to athletic directors and coaches throughout the area to nominate their 8th grade players. They send us a bunch of names, and we give them a 2-night workout for a tryout. We select a group of kids, and we play an inter-county game, and that's the first level of this 3-level event. So the first level was last weekend, and then we pare the rosters down to about 10 or 12. The second level is coming up this afternoon down at Wildwood Crest, and that's where we'll take the Cape May and Cumberland County kids, and we'll face off against the Atlantic County kids. And then following, go ahead, I'm sorry.
What time are the games today?
Today at Wildwood Crest Pier, we have the girls tipping off at 2 p.m., and the boys game will be tipping off at 3 p.m.
Okay.
And then following today's game, we'll pare the rosters down even one more time to go to a third round, which will be taking place next weekend at Prime Events All-Star Saturday that Tom Williams does a great job running over there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll take that. That'll be the final level. It'll be a group of about 10 or 12 kids from Cape May, Cumberland, and Atlantic County, and they'll get to play against kids from Gloucester and Camden counties. So it's a good opportunity for them to kind of get a little bit of experience in a different social setting with kids of their skill level from across South Jersey, really. It's a great time for them. They have an awesome time with it.
That's awesome. Let me go to Rob here real quick. And Rob, tell us about your involvement. I know Little Fish is one of the rising stars in hoops and football. And tell us about the Margate boys.
Our team, Keith reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and I told him I'm on board, and we have a lot of kids in Atlantic County that could play. So we put together a couple tryouts that we had over at Holy Spirit High School, and we had about 40 kids come out. Really good turnout, really good talent. So I'm excited for this game today to see the talent on both teams and future high school stars. That's what it's all about.
How tough was it to pare it down when you get that many kids? And I'm sure they're all pretty good players.
Really good players. A lot of these kids are stars on their team, so it was difficult. Plus you got the friends aspect of my kids trying out. It's really tough, but I really think we narrowed it down. We took 15 kids, so I think we got the top 15 kids in Atlantic County, I believe.
And how many different high schools will these kids be going to? I'm sure pretty much all over, right?
I'm looking at my roster right now. Holy Spirit, Atlantic City, Ocean City, EHT, St. Augustine, St. Joe's, and I think one Pleasantville.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm sure these kids, they know each other from playing throughout the season, right, in whatever the school league is?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of these kids, they play AAU together. I've had 6 or 7 of these kids for 4 years on AAU teams. So they all know each other. Today's social media, they all know each other through that now.
What are the kids? What are the kids like your son? What are they looking forward to most? This is a really cool thing where you're really getting the best competition over a 3-week period, and then to finish up at the Prime Events, they get to be around the high school kids and see guys like Ray Bethea, Defiant Anderson, and probably Marlon Hargis, some of those type of talented kids.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I talked to Robbie yesterday, and he's the most excited he is to play with kids he's never played before. We got a kid from Stafford, Jaden Anthony, who I think is the premier point guard in South Jersey. Is going to be a star in the next 4 years, and he's excited to play with him. And we go to high school games all the time, so it's the last step before they go into high school ball. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's go back to Keith real quick, and Keith, tell us what's the excitement level for the girls and the boys. This is a really cool challenge for these kids to kind of give them their first opportunity to really compete for spots like they will be next year as freshmen.
They're buzzing about it. It's something that they look forward to throughout the entire year. And now that they get into that tryout setting, as Rob said, with 40 to 50 kids of their skill level, and we got to pare that down. You can see the nerves come out. You can see the excitement as they begin to make it. It's really, really fun, not only for them, but and Rob can probably attest to this as well. As coaches, we have a great time with it too. It's a fun atmosphere where you get to kind of put your talents on display and sit back and watch and enjoy. So it's great for the kids.
How do you handle the parents? I'm sure there's a lot of moms and dads out there who think their kid's the best because they've dominated, the 6 or 7 schools they've played throughout the school year. But then you're trying to get them to realize, we're taking kids from, a 40-mile, radius. How do you get these parents to understand there's no politics going on, or this kid's a favorite, that kid's a favorite, that kind of thing? I'm sure that's one of the bigger challenges is to kind of get these parents to understand what you're trying to do and bringing the best kids. And it's not always easy for a parent to admit that another kid's better than their kid.
Right. No, I agree. What's great about down our end with the guys that are kind of running the whole thing with Tom Messer, Bob Blasco, and myself, we don't have a kid on the eighth grade group, so we have an unbiased perspective. We're kind of able to relate to the parents that message a little bit, and at the end of the day, we thank them and we're appreciative to the kids for putting themselves in a vulnerable position. They see 40 or 50 kids show up, they know 20 or 30 of them are not going to make it. So it really says a lot about the kid's character to be able to put himself in that position, in a vulnerable position in front of his friends where he or she may not make the cut. So it says a lot about them too. So just not making the team isn't what it's all about. So there's a life lesson in that too that we try to echo to the parents and to the kids, and they're usually pretty receptive to that. And actually a lot of them will come out and support their fellow teammates or kids that they played against, even if they didn't make the game. So it's really great to see that.
Keith, real quick before we let you go, I imagine one of the coolest things is to see next weekend when these kids get to play prior to the high school kids, and they get to kind of hang around and see players like the boys I mentioned before, and girls like Kylie Watson and some of these kids they've been reading about in the papers for the last year or two.
Oh, yeah, it's great. So as you hear Rob say, he had about 50 at his, and we had about 50 at ours. So now you're combining those 100 kids that tried out, and we're only going to take about 10 to 12 with us. So those 10 to 12, they're at the top of their game. They're at the top of South Jersey. So there's no doubt that in 3 to 4 years, that's their goal, is to be playing in that game. So I'm sure there will be a little bit of wide eyes and oohs and ahs, but it's definitely most of their aspirations once we get to that point. So that's what's really going to be fun about it next Saturday at Ocean City High School.
Well, as you guys know, basketball season never really ends. So we appreciate you guys taking a few minutes to fill us in on the future stars coming up, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of these names in a couple of years playing in that Cal All-Star game.
Yeah, Dave, do you mind if I give our email address? Because we're always looking for some sponsors and some donors. We'd love to take this to the next level and be able to offer some scholarship to kids who participate in the event as well.
Yeah, definitely. Fire it off.
So sjfuturestars@hotmail.com is where we can be reached at, and we're looking for any type of community or individual support that could help us out financially for the event going forward. And again, today we're playing at Wildwood Crest Pier at 2 and 3:15 p.m., and then next weekend at Ocean City High School at 12 and 1:45 p.m.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Keith Palek and Rob Fishbein. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. We appreciate you.